Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
So yeah, like I was saying, basically if that happens, just push the whole house into the basement. So episode 427 here, ready to go. Thanks for joining us here on the Crash Course. Mark Elliott's going to be joining us here for this one. Brian is back in the studio, and unfortunately, he's been kept away because he had to rejoin the workforce. really gets in the way of having a good time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I actually wish that was. No, we just had some stuff going on, so I've been away. Good to be back. Sometime we should have recorded all the stuff we said before shows and like put it on the greatest hits album, because people would be like, "What are these idiots laughing about?" So, great to be back. I'd say Derby season kicked off. We're more a month late for that. So,
according to some of the people that check into our inbox, we're laughing because we don't know that we're terrible.
that could be it.
It could be.
Like brother, we
this was really the first Derby of the year that sort of gained some traction. The Buck had that show on New Year's Eve. The Florida show ended up not happening, but Sturgis was the kickoff for the Unified Point Series. We're going to be talking to Adam Eaton a little bit later on. He got a win. We remember Adam Eaton, of course, when we did the recap of Turkey Derby. Mm-hmm. He got a win over there too. So bookending the 2022 finale and the start of 2023 there. So we'll be able to get into that. Mark's waiting in the wings as well. I don't think we've missed any derbies up to this point aside. The Buck stands out. And then I saw a car, it looked like it was an Avenger or something, on a rollback on the way here that came from somewhere. And Alan was talking about Jackson Doyle ended up running third in a side-by-side class with Jeremy at some point, but I don't know where they were, and I wonder if those two were related. It didn't stand out to me that there was anything local that we had missed.
No, nothing. Not by local we mean like East Coast. I don't think there was anything going on anywhere. Unless I just went in somebody's backyard and tore them up. Which,
that when Alex and John were here, they were talking about that coming up. So I mean, it's happened before. Up in Malone, one of the logging companies. Not the red and white cars, not the black and white cars, the black and yellow cars. I think. I can't remember the name of the team now. Not the power team, but the Chris. I'm blanking on his name. They used to have a derby at their place.
That's
all
cool.
Season, just in the backyard. Everybody gets together and have a good time. I think Adrian Gilbert did that before too.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Tracy Young and that crew have had a
That's the
few.
one. Yeah, up on the hill.
Yeah.
That's the one that Alex was talking about.
So I was thinking, and I know you always get nervous when I think. So
Nate, get the mute button ready.
So
Good commercial.
Sturgis.
Yes.
You know what would be an awesome place to have in the Demolition Derby?
No.
The Sturgis Bike Rally.
No. I was answering your question. It's not a good idea to go to North Dakota for that.
That would be awesome. Tell me that wouldn't be one of the most.
They should call it Road Wild, right? And we could bring back all the WCW cues that we can.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. Mark Elliott, do you want to go to Sturgis, North Dakota for a derby in the Black Hills?
Why not?
There you go. You know Mark's not going to say no. That's a silly question.
Why not?
We're having trouble with Adam. He wants us to call him. I don't know if we can. We don't have the call stuff hooked up anymore, right?
You're asking me or telling me?
I'm talking with Nate over there at the same time. Yeah,
Chris is associate producing as we start. So
Brian, if he was asking you, what was your answer going to be?
Yeah, what was the answer going to be?
What's that?
When I asked if the call stuff was still hooked up, what was your answer going to be?
No. I'm guessing no.
No, it's not on the table at this moment. Anyway, Mark Elliott got the chance to get on the road, got down to Redneck Rumble in Sturgis, and boy, right out of the blocks, the point series has some of the elements that we saw from last year. The bonus points factored in a little bit. The drivers that aren't signed up as registered drivers have got to have that kind of in the back of their mind as they should sign up. It really opened up all the avenues that we were kind of expecting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, for starts, it was definitely a good show. It is always an interesting environment in Sturgis, Kentucky. I don't know if just the name Sturgis just carries that, whatever state it's in, but there's some interesting things. You might have to check out my live after Derby video to hear some of those interesting things going on down there in Sturgis. But nonetheless, man, it was a good show, and I definitely want to thank Wicked and thank Union County. Union County stepped up their game this year because they're a fair board that they raise money, and I told them that we were going to double the buy-in for a show, and with that possibility that they weren't interested in having to make that difficult decision whether whether I was going to be at the Redneck Rumble or not, and they stepped up, and so kudos to them for making that decision for the drivers, and we showed up, and George got the banner done for the first time ever for Redneck Rumble. That was important to me since Union County did step up their game, so they actually got a logo on the banner this time. So that was pretty important to have that thing flying for the first time at Sturgis. It's really been a good year for first time having the banner at Sturgis, and first time having the schedule out so as early as we did. So we continued to improve year after year, which starting to feel pretty good, getting some traction. But you mentioned the bonus points, and to my surprise, there were two classes that were bonus point classes that paid $5,000 or more. So I did not know that. In my after video, I only talked about one class being bonus. So to my surprise, the two last classes that ran were. So here I thought Trevor Jones was going to be ranking in second, and he's actually tied for first for registered drivers now. But I'm going to have to continue to repeat it all year, and it's really kind of a learning curve for me because, I think through a good portion of it, but I don't think through everything. And so I've already got some notes jotted down of like, okay, well, I need to. The first gap was that I'm used to just watching the top three, and so that's pretty easy to score points because I got to do that anyway for whoever I'm working for. But now we've got those registered drivers in there, and if they make the effort and they put in the work and they build the car and they run the show, no matter how far they have to travel, they're going to get those 2 bonus points just for being a registered driver and pulling on the track. So we actually had a few of them that didn't score top 3, where normally I would not have had their names anywhere. But I had to do a little extra work to make sure that I didn't miss anybody. So it's definitely an opportunity for me to elevate my game this year. And seven registered drivers there.
Just hold tight.
Chris.
Hold on a second.
My bad.
Okay.
No, keep going, Mark.
Yeah, so as you probably seen on the link that I shared with you, there were 7 registered drivers. Ruts Fab, Jordan Rutherford, actually made us a picture frame because our website manager and also sponsor for One Shot Photography, Shannon Davis, she's building profiles on our website instead of just having the old Excel leaderboard that we've had for the first 3 years. She actually built just a small profile for every driver, all 27 drivers, and I think we had 4 or 5 drivers sign up in the last week, and so every time somebody signs up, she will build them a profile and they will go on our website. So if you go to our website, you'll see, I don't know what she words it as, the class of 2023 or the 2023 chase drivers. And each week or each show, whenever those points change, that leading driver will always move to the top. So it's going to serve not only as a class of 2023, but a leaderboard. And so that picture frame, she had trouble finding a good picture. You go to people's Facebook and you try to screenshot something, but some of them don't have pictures. And it was just a nightmare for her last year to get that stuff for the top 10 drivers. And so Jordan built that picture frame, and it's got the Unified Point Series logo. It is sweet, man. But it weighs like 60 pounds. I think it surprised a couple people because they actually got to hold it up yourself and say cheese. And we were able to get out of the 7 drivers there, we were able to get 4 of them. So she's going to get the website updated with those profile pics and just one more layer to add that really makes it cool for us.
The thing that got me right out of the blocks is how we were talking about drivers that were maybe not necessarily in the tops of the points because they hadn't signed up. And in my mind, if you're not following the tour, or if you are otherwise, one way or the other, you're on top of the point standings right now, and those are the guys that are out in front. And let the purge fall where it may. It's like the Super Dirt Car Series standings. For the longest time, you'd see somebody that was way out in front, but they didn't declare a home track. So come along the Labor Day, boom, they would just fall like a stone because they didn't have any home track points to claim.
Yeah, that's how it used to be. Is or the opposite way is guys would, like when they were running 3 nights a week, they'd wait and see where they won the points championship or wait, where they finished the highest, and then it would factor in that way. So, it's just cool to see how this points tour. This, I guess would be the tour or the term we use. How it's advancing and it's becoming more
evolving.
Yeah, more involved. So, it's just so cool. It's just such an awesome thing to see, and I'm glad guys are getting behind it.
Right. The last year we saw sort of the same opening round of action with Trevor Jones jumping out in front. Bill Miller jumped out there early on, and those guys ended up not following the balance of the season. But they were out there, and they're certainly a threat early in the going of things. And with Trevor sitting up there right now, I think Levi Deem, a registered driver, is up there as well, and Don Santel factoring into the top 3 right now, setting a fast pace early. But they are chasing Adam Eaton. Adam is being brokered into the phone right now, and he finished the year with that win at Turkey Derby and kind of carried the momentum over. And when Mark had talked to him earlier in the day, Mark had said that he was a little bit surprised almost that we were interested in where things are going. But so many times in Demolition Derby, momentum is everything. Being able to get off to that hot start and being able to capitalize on it, because at this point now, if he signs up, now he's just got to sustain things. We saw how easy it is to sustain a lead. It's not something that's easy to do. But it's a lot easier than trying to play catch up. It's a lot easier to defend points than it is to gain them back.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's about momentum. I mean, it's so many times it feels like if you start out and have a good run, like even if you don't win the first time out, but things go good. You get down there second, third, fourth, something like that. It's much easier to go back to the shop and start in the next one and start working than when you go out and it's nothing but little things taking out all day long. You don't have a good run in it. Right. And we see it in all. I feel like you see it in all motorsports. Like it's much easier to start out on a good foot than it is to try to battle back. Mm-hmm. So,
you have any other surprises that sort of jumped off the page to you when you're out there for Redneck Rumble?
Well, I'll hit on 2 things because you guys said so many great things there that just kind of wind me up. So I want to hit on Adam in a conversation that I did have with him today, and then I want to hit on Logan Sorensen. So Adam, for me, I don't ever want anyone to feel like it's a sales pitch for me. Like, the only reason I'm texting you today is because I want you to chase points. I believe in my heart of hearts that we are all busy people.
I can hear about every other word you're saying.
You're good, Mark.
Or am I good?
Yeah,
Mark,
yeah.
you're
Chris is still producing as you're talking. It's all right. Well, everybody else can hear you. It's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm the guy in the movie theater turned around and I don't know what's going on in the movie because I'm listening to the people behind me.
I understand.
I don't ever want that to be a sales pitch. I believe that just people miss things or they don't understand or they didn't hear it, because that's me. I can speak from my experience. People are all the time coming up to me, did you know about this or did you hear about this? And I don't, because most of my involvement on social media, not all, but most, is just me just trying to put this stuff out there for the point series or some personal health goals that I have. But as far as like following things, and I talk to people all the time and they're like, oh man, I didn't know about this or I didn't know about that. So I reached out to Adam because he did have a big win at the Turkey Derby. And this was a big win for him, and he'll be the first to tell you that because of the field that he was out there with. Big win, and man, I talked about it last year with Ty, and I have with other people. It's like when you get on, when that match gets lit, like it just feels like things start going right. And I don't know, I didn't know when I reached out to him today whether he would even have any interest or not. I just wanted to make sure that he understood that he's in the lead right now. He's right up there because of that bonus point win, 15 points, and he's not a registered driver. He has until May 1st to register. And I just wanted him to understand, like, look, man, I'm not trying to convince you to chase points. I just want you to understand that we cross paths quite a bit throughout the year, at least 3 or 4 or 5 times. And he's one that usually does pretty good. That could easily land him in the top 10 just by crossing paths that many times and being on a hot year. So he talked about, he's got kids in baseball and being busy. And that kind of plays right into, like, everybody's got a story. I get it. We all got lives, and there's probably nobody that has time to run this point series. I've seen it time and time again where those same people, they somehow get that hook, and that match gets lit, and it's like that momentum that Brian was talking about takes over, and the next thing they know, they're laughing at me at McDonald's 10 shows later, like, I hate you, Mark. Like,
well, I mean, at this point, Adam is with us on the line, and I don't know if we're falling enough into this run yet for anyone to be hating Mark yet, but certainly at this point, it's undeniable that this is a pretty big win for you, and you got a couple of them under your belt now.
Yeah, I've had some luck here lately.
Better be lucky than good.
That's it.
So
that was the saying of the night.
Well,
Saturday night.
Well, tell me a little bit more about this. I mean, certainly no slouch in terms of the cars that you're out there with, and you had to do a little bit of work to make it happen. The bonus point win put you up on top of the point standings at this point. Early in the going, obviously the first show, and we got a long way to go before it comes to conclusion. I think the schedule's got about 30 shows, 25, 30 shows on it as a whole. But I mean, this is a big win, and what's this mean for your season?
Oh, it just gives me some more confidence to keep on going. We're gonna derby anyways, but it always helps to win one every now and again.
Right.
I just you don't ever think you're gonna win them back to back, of course, or I don't, but. I don't know. It just goes to show you if you put yourself in that position, get down to the last 4 or 3 or 5, anything can happen. So.
Going back to winning back-to-back, let's start first with Turkey Derby. I mean, did you pick anything up? Was there anything that just, even if it's just something as simple as confidence, faith in the builds, any tips or tricks that you picked up that worked at Turkey Derby that you're able to parlay into making it work again in Sturgis?
No, I don't think so. Two totally different builds, two totally different places.
Right.
Turkey Derby, I feel like the best thing that I had going, that I'd been in some muddy situations before, and I had a good heavy car.
Mm-hmm.
And the rear, it was ass end heavy, of course, being a wagon. And I don't know, I just I like the mud. I feel like I can go toe to toe with anybody in the mud after a couple heartbreaks we've had in the mud. I think it was 16 or 17 Bash for Cash kicker class. My brother got second, and I was, I don't know, fourth or fifth out.
Mm-hmm.
We should have won it that year. And it was the muddiest derby I'd ever been in. I think it rained a couple inches there in about an hour, right before our feature heat.
Yep.
So that helped me a lot.
Sure
That
did.
helped me a lot there at Turkey. I knew kind of, go at it easy, and it's going to be a long heat. Just try to save some fuel.
Yep.
Sure. The running in the mud, it really teaches you to take care of your equipment in a different way than running a hard derby, because you're gaining weight the whole time. You know that you're going to be doing way more tire spin than what you want to, and you're going to be holding additional heat into that engine because your airflow is just not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. And with the advent of all these high-end power plants and stuff, it's not exactly like running a road motor in your car, but still, I mean, heat causes problems.
Yes. And that's the thing.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
But I think up there you had to have a little bit. You had to have a good engine to get you around.
Mm-hmm.
If you had some kind of a, something that didn't have some ass behind it, you wasn't gonna get anywhere.
You're saying
For sure.
That's the thing. We've talked.
Mark on here?
Yeah, he's going to be here in just a second. Brian's got some thoughts on running in the mud, and probably also some input on making your stuff last and just cruising around for 60 laps and holding it for the last 40, right?
Yeah. No, we've talked before about the driving, and Chris and I mean, I think it's safe to speak for Chris in that it's fun to just go out and watch guys stand on it and tear stuff up. And we've seen that a lot, but I mean, we've also seen the guys that have driven to win on good hard tracks and driven to win on the sloppier tracks, and it's definitely a different skill set. I mean, like Chris mentioned, you're not going to get the traction. I mean, you can, and it makes it more frustrating. I mean, you get somebody lined up for a tire shot, and by the time you try to poke it to get there, it's you're going to be fishtailing and all sort of kittywampus, and drivers don't get the admiration they should for being able to do that. You know what I mean? It's you're obviously working the motor harder, and mud is getting just packed everywhere, and especially if you're in Troy, New York, and it fills the frame up like Mark Benjamin. But it is. It's definitely it's another talent that the drivers have. So. It's you earn. You can really earn them on tracks like that as well.
I almost think that the muddy tracks, and Mark, you can weigh in on this too with the number of derbies that you've seen. I almost think that the muddy tracks make the cars a little less predictable because your shots aren't necessarily landing the way that you want to. You get cars to start to bend a little bit more awkwardly, not necessarily to the point where it's a detriment now, but 5, 6, 7 shots down the line, stuff starts to bend a little bit more awkwardly, and really you do have to be down there in that 4 or 5 cars left. And then anything can happen because you just don't know what the equations are going to bring,
Yeah, it it definitely takes a different kind of patience. I certainly have respect, a different kind of respect for anyone that wins in a condition like you're talking about at the Turkey Derby. I've been down in his parts before in Kentucky where I wasn't so sure that I was even going to make it to actually run on the track because I could barely make it through the pits. It was so bad. And I just always looked at it like it makes me so nervous running on mud, and it makes me so proud when I do get to the bottom, because I've just always looked at it like it takes a solid 2 hours to win a derby in the mud, and it takes about 2 seconds to lose one.
Mm-hmm. And then you take some of that element out, someplace like Sturgis, where one time we were down there with Steve Bucknam and Josh, and we almost died. And we were sleeping in our winter coats because the heat had gone out in the camper that we were staying in. It was a story to reminisce, and because we're alive to talk about it. But all of that's out of the equation, and now you're indoors, and the elements are a little bit more controlled, and at the same time, you still have to get down into that final bit to have a chance at the win. But it's a much, much different path to get there. So tell me a little bit about Sturgis itself and whittling down through the field, because patience. Now that you've got a dry track, you've got sort of ideal conditions, you've got the opportunity to make hits count, but you're in much more closer confines, so the big hit that counts can leave you exposed to something else. How difficult is it to get down there into the spot where you can let luck fall its way?
Well, what I thought about the whole time was I knew, with that field, the guy to beat. Don was running, Santel.
He does okay.
He's the man. He's the man. But Traver, he's good. Jones, so the guys to beat, already knew who was going to be at the end. You pretty well know that, what was going to happen. But I just really just try to keep my nose clean, keep the wheels clean on it. Watch out for the kamikaze guys. I think about halfway through, one guy got me. He I can't remember who it was, but some red car hit me pretty well heads up. I think the bumper deflected that a little. But, I don't know. It seemed like when I was out there running, it was pretty quick. It seemed like we were down to 4 or 5 there pretty fast. And I'm guessing it was because at Turkey Derby I was out there for 2.5 hours. it was like watching paint dry. But it was pretty fast paced there for a little while, and then it got time to use it. And I don't know. You never do want to do any pin to win. I don't feel like I pinned anybody to win, but it was any Derby guy that wants to win knows if you get that opportunity and you got that kind of a Les Johnson, Don Santel, Trevor Jones left, and I've got a car that's got a wheel leaning in. I need to take any advantage I can, and I seen it and took it. So,
in terms of Mark, you're sitting in the driver's seat up on top, and did it feel as fast as it might have felt from inside the car, like the way Adam described?
It was a banger heat. Every heat was like a mirror image. They kind of started out, everybody feeling each other out, and then, somebody started it, and then it kind of went. And he talked about, whether it's set in the pits or whether on the track or whether you have a story in your mind, like me as a fan watching. I don't know who's running with who or what's happening, but I've been out there or watched enough to kind of have a pecking order in my mind, and it was getting down to it. I think there were still 4 left: Les, Adam, Traver, and Butch. We know Traver's with Butch. We know Les is from Canada. I don't know exactly where Adam stands, but I had him at the bottom the whole time mentally. And they all kind of jumped on Les a little bit. And then it started to look like Les and Adam either hooked up, or it was just that Traver and Butch one was going to be beating on one and one on the other, or they were going to be trading licks. And so it kind of looked like 2 on 2, as a fan watching. And Butch with his right rear frame rail got Adam hard in the left front wheel and the driver's front wheel. And I mean, as soon as he pulled out, because Butch's car was rolled up, so that frame was just curled out there like a boxing glove, when they just curl up real nice. And it just stuffed right in that wheel well. And when he pulled out, I wasn't so sure Adam was even going to be able to move because the top of the tire was laying over against the A-arm pretty good. And, once they're like that, you don't know if they're going to run for the next 3 derbies or the next 3 seconds. So it's at that point, it's a crapshoot. And Adam, I don't know if a cap came loose or if a hose may have got a pinhole in it, but then there was a little bit of steam somewhere around in there, and Les had a couple wheels wobbling. So as a fan, as a bystander watching, or if I'm Bubba and Zach and the family, at that point I'm praying, like, we need some help, Derby gods, because Travis and Butch, were like a couple surgeons out there, and it looked as if, like, okay, it looks like Les is next and Adam's third, and Butch drove on the back of Les, and if we all know him well enough to know that his intention wasn't for his left front wheel to be on the speaker deck, but with a dry track and maybe Les put it in reverse, like all the variables together, now you got Butch and the speaker deck on Les, and you got Traver, who is ride or die. I'll die on the hill with you if you're my partner. So, now his focus is less on Adam. Again, this is me as a fan watching. You never know what drivers are actually thinking, but I'm reading Traver's mind, like, I got to get Butch off before one.
Well, this is all, real quick, this is all after Butch had that C-post laid right over, right? This is when that C-pillar and the quarter panel on that car was all pushed in, and it made it look like that roll might not even work out.
Yeah. And so, in my mind as a fan, Traver took all his attention to Butch. And when he did that, here's Adam, who can probably barely steer. I'm sure he could feel that front wheel. I don't know. I'm sure he could feel something going on up there with how bad it was bent. And then it had been steaming a little bit from whatever was going on there. There was the Thanksgiving dinner on the table, and he took it. And, I like that he mentioned that, well, maybe somebody says pin to win, but he didn't feel like he did. Everybody's always going to have their opinion, but what I believe is that supper's on the table a lot, and people don't always eat. And that may have been his only shot that the Derby gods were going to bless him with, and he took it at the perfect time. And if you've ever been to Sturgis, like, once you get on them walls, and I've never ran that track, but I've watched it enough, it looks like it's darn near impossible to get off once somebody's on you. And Adam's backing up, pulling up, backing up, pulling up, and making contact. Somehow Butch pops off, but the Derby gods are right there to say, well, even though you got off that trunk, somehow we're going to put something else in your way. And so I think, like, he's backing into Adam, and, like, it was a mess, but he did exactly what it took to, he went from now having to deal with Butch and Traver with darn near a fresh car, once Les is out, to now he's sitting there waiting for the checkered flag to drop, and that's how it freaking happens, man. That's why I would never, I'd have a hard time betting on Demolition Derby, because you just never know what the heck's going to happen.
Well, how long was that wait? You said it got down to 4 or 5 pretty quick. And how long was that wait for the checkered flag to come when you saw everybody sort of piled up?
What was that? I couldn't hardly hear you.
I'm sorry. Waiting for everybody to run out of time on their hit clocks. It went pretty fast getting down to the final 5 in your purview.
Mm-hmm.
However, I bet you it felt like a long time waiting for that checkered flag to come out.
No, not really.
No?
I really had thought they were going to pull them apart. The way the flagman was, talking to me, and he came down and said something a couple of times. I thought he was going to pull Traver out, but I'd made the final hit. I thought so, and that ended up how it turned out. So it was all in all, it didn't seem like it was that long, really. I couldn't hardly hear anything that Mark was saying during that, just bits and pieces, but it sounded like he had it spot on.
I'm trying my best for everybody.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when you get down to that point, and obviously you're running against Don and somebody that's pretty tight with him. I mean,
And Les is no slouch.
yeah, and Les also. I mean, what were you feeling when you got down to that point? I mean, did you feel like you had a pretty decent shot? Were you pretty confident, or were you just?
Yeah. I never lost my confidence. It's like I was saying earlier. You get down to that far, anything can happen. My dad, he's always taught me that over, the years, and I've watched him being the car that wasn't built the toughest or whatnot, but you get down to those last 3 or 4, you always got a shot. But I felt like Don's car was being up pretty decent in the back. I knew my car was bent up pretty good in the front. It bent in front of the 8 arms pretty quick. But let's see, Don caught me slipping. I took my eye off of him for a second, and he bent my left front over pretty good. I forget when that was, but it finally started rolling again, and I just took off and didn't really look back. I thought, it's time to get after it as much as I can. And
How close was that wheel to coming off? Like when you got that thing back home, had the wheel finally come all the way loose, or was it still hanging on?
no, it's good.
Yeah.
I think we could go all night with it as long as it didn't get hit again.
Cool. We saw that, Adam was, he mentioned when you get down to the end, anything can happen. Last year, Iron City Nationals, Toby was running, and, same thing. He got a tire locked up, and then he was having some trouble, and it came loose, and, down towards the end, him and, what's his name that won it, I think they had the 2 best cars. It would have been a hell of a show. And it was shaping up for that. And then Toby made a hit on Cody Riley's brother and happened to get hung up, and that was it. And then just like that, Dustin had the win. So it's weird how stuff can happen at the end like that.
And that little sliver of sheet metal that was probably shaped with a hammer.
Oh yeah,
was enough to hold up an entire another car.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and especially in our sport because I mean things just everybody is such great builders. But, I mean, when it just comes down to it, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen when you've been beating on cars for hours and, they've had stresses here and pulls there, and you don't know what's going to happen at the end. So, I mean, really, anything can happen. Anything can break. Anything, you can drive over something, put a hole in the oil pan. I mean, it really is anybody's ball game when you get down to that point.
So is it safe to say that controlling is an illusion?
Yes.
It's from Days of Thunder. So I guess the big question, I know you got summer league baseball and you got kids at home and there's enough overlapping events to where we might see you have some opportunities to score some points to creep back up and hang on to a top 10 spot through the course of the year. Is it something that you're going to put a little bit of thought into of maybe getting to a point where you can sign up for a full assault on this and see where the points fall?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some thinking on it and checking the schedule. See where I'm at on that. I talked with Mark about that.
He said that you guys had spoke.
Yeah, we talked about that. I would love to say, yes, but I got all these other variables that's coming into play. But yeah, I mean, I may go ahead and get registered just in case something does happen for March. The Wicked Team show coming up.
Right.
If I can carry on this hot streak, but I got some help with that one too.
Sure.
My family, my brother, and my dad, they're going to run with me.
That's cool.
And Dad, he gets pretty hot sometimes too. So I may go on and do that.
Adam, it's Derby is obviously a great sport. We all love it, but it's a lot less stressful hanging out and watching the kids play sports sometimes, and building cars, living in the shop, and running. And
yeah, this would be my first year. I've got to coach the Pee Wee League,
nice.
So we'll have 2 kids on the Pee Wee League baseball team.
I've been coaching youth sports. Well, I've the last couple of years I've moved up some, but my advice is work on patience. Not so much with the kids, but good Lord, can parents drive you bonkers? So work on patience. Yeah. It's not going to be the kids. It's going to be the parents.
Oh yeah.
Did you see Dylan Lane and
yeah.
his boy
wrestling,
running through the wrestling ranks now?
Yeah, that's awesome.
They look like they're exhausted.
Yeah,
crashing in the hotel room. Is there anybody that you want to make mention of? You talked about the family and helping you at the Sturgis team show. What about in terms of getting to the track for this one?
Yeah, I mean we're for this past Sturgis and the Turkey Derby. My crew here at the shop, at least for the last 2 or 3 days before the Derby, I pretty much turn everything over to them, let them take over the body shop and run my day-to-day things. My wife, she takes care of the office stuff while I'm working on the demo cars. So I need to thank her, definitely, Carly, and all the guys here. My dad, Bubba, and my brother, Zach, they helped me. Zach done my trunk and done the creasing on that old, what do you guys call those Crown Vics?
Junk.
With the extra windows. What do you guys call them? There's names for them.
Football window?
No. They're not the football window. He's talking of that's the Lincoln, the early ones. He's talking about the mid '90s Crown Vics, right? It's like 92, 93, 94, up to 97. Yeah. Those are in generally in the circles that I'm in. It's either called a 6 window or that's actually the bubble, and then the 98 2s go by that name, and the 03s go by that name. So it depends on where you are. I don't know what do you guys call them out there? Are they 6 windows?
Yeah, we call them a gay window.
Okay.
That's what we call them.
All right, well.
And I guess everybody was, they were like, when I got to Sturgis, they were like, "What are you doing? Why do you got that car?"
Because it's a winner.
It was stripped out, ready to go, ready to build. So that's
awesome.
That's why I like it.
Well, maybe.
That's a new term.
Yep.
Hey, I'm not going to say it.
I'm not going to be adopting that one. We'll stick with bubbles and 6 windows.
Oh, that's terrific.
Because that was
that car there. They all had a good hand in it. My dad helped me a few days on it. Some of the guys, Jacob Knight. I don't know if you guys know of him. He lives here in Franklin, close to us, and he really helped me a lot on that car to get it finished. And just a bunch of local guys. I mean, once word gets out that I'm going to go or we're going to go somewhere and run, that's a big show that you would consider, they sometimes come out to help.
So
it's a good time.
Adam, you own and operate a body shop?
Yes, I got a body shop here in Franklin. It's quality refinishing.
So I'm guessing that frame machine that's in there probably comes in handy for building derby cars as well.
Yeah, we use it quite a bit.
I figured that would probably come in handy in building a derby car.
All that.
That's great.
The body shop goes through 3 times as much body sealant as anything else. It's all business expense.
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean,
Yeah, these and the spot welders come in handy as well. You guys need to get one of those.
it's not the first time I've heard that from a guy out that way. Say, tell me about body or them welders. That's terrific.
Bubba's shaking his head right now. I actually run into Bubba and Zach at the. I was out rounding some parts up for our raffle car, and I ran into Bubba and Zach. They stopped at the same tie rod shop that I was standing at, and they was talking. I think RH3. They was talking to him after I did, but we got a chance to. I just love crossing paths with friends, and they told me, I asked them if they was running, and they said no, but Adam is. And I said, oh, okay. I said, he just ready to carry that torch from November, huh? Or I said something about just referencing the Turkey Derby, because that's what I care most about is winning derbies and watching people win derbies, and it just excites me. And Bubba just got a smile on his face, and he said something like, oh yeah, he's ready to go. I could just, it doesn't really matter what he said. As a father myself, I could just feel his excitement for his son, and it's like being the kid down the road that's the guy's got the car out in the driveway building it. Chris, we've talked about this. Like, when you look at that car so much, or you feel like you've got a piece in that car, that's the winner. That's going to be the best car in that. And I can only imagine when that's your kid and you've got a hand in that car, and just the excitement he had when he said that was like, how cool is that? I've had the same experience with Randy Hiley, talking about Toby, where it sends chills through me just thinking as a parent. There's no better feeling than watching your kids do something great.
Did Randy Hiley express that same type of enthusiasm when he talked about putting Toby in a corner because he spun the wheel to tell him he had no steering?
No. You probably shouldn't bring that up.
It's funny. We 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I took Zach to Iron City for the first time, and he took him and met down Santel and Toby and everybody, and I said, Toby, this is my son Zach, and he said, hey, Zach, shook his hand, and I said, Toby, tell him that story once about when you told your dad you didn't have no seat. He did. Toby was a good sport and told it, and Zach was laughing his butt off. It was funny. It was Toby and his dad have had some interesting experiences when it comes to derbying.
We all know one thing: checkered flags are thicker than blood.
Absolutely.
Well, Adam, man, congratulations on the win. We appreciate you bearing with us as we tried to figure out a way to get you spliced in here. We went old school with it, but it certainly worked. And I really hope that you get the opportunity to pick up another couple wins here this year, and we'll be doing this again.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the plan. I wish I could have heard what Mark said. I couldn't hear him. I could hear bits and pieces.
Mark was just really excited to run into your dad, and your dad said, Adam's ready to go. Adam's ready to go, and having that car there, it just felt like there was something in the air, I guess you could say, if you wanted to mystify it and make it a run of destiny or whatever, and add more drama than is necessary. It was one of those things where Dad just had a feeling it was going to be good.
Yeah, he gets those feelings.
Tell him to go.
He's the one that keeps us going for real. He's definitely put this derby fever in us.
And we're going to be seeing
my brother.
And we're going to be seeing him at the team show.
Yeah, he's going to run.
That's awesome.
Me and him and my brother Zach and Fuji Barnes is going to be on our team.
Okay.
A guy from here in Kentucky. He's ran we ran against him and with him for years. He's a pretty good wheelman himself.
Excellent. So your dad is who got you into the sport as a whole? He was derbying and kind of brought you into the derby orbit?
Oh, yeah. Been around it since I was born.
Mm-hmm.
He drugged me to every county fair within 100 miles of this place. And he started me up right over here, a county next to us. He got me a small car, and I was 13. He let me run it. I didn't do very good at all, but that was the first one. He got me going about age 13 in one, and I ain't stopped since.
What does your dad think of what the Derby builds have become? Because obviously when he started it, it wasn't to the extreme that it can be now. Like, what does he think of today's builds?
He's kind of tried to grow with it, but still he's we tease him all the time. He's going to be the guy that he works to get. He wants to go through inspection one time, and he wants to get his stick, and he wants to go sit on the trailer and watch everybody, all these other idiots, he says, cut their cars apart. But if he's got to get it, to be in the thick of it as far as cradles, spindles, if he thinks that it's a necessity, he's going to go on and get what he needs. But he's pretty dang excited about this bone stock situation. He sees it. He said he sees it taking over, and probably will.
That's awesome.
Until it makes another big circle.
Yeah, which it will.
It will. Yep. So, Adam? What we're gonna do is between then and now, we'll put some time in, and I'm going to get you more acclimated with a Zoom meeting, and
okay.
You're going to be all fully educated and ready, and we're going to get you and your dad on, and we're going to talk to you again before the team show in Sturgis. Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
I want to talk to your dad.
Absolutely.
Because
you need to.
That's going to be a good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, man. Again, congratulations on the win. We're just about out of time here. I appreciate you bearing with us again, and we look forward to talking soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks,
have a good night.
You too.
Have a good night.
There goes
See ya. Thank
Adam Eaton. And you don't have to go, Mark. I got another question for you. Don't run off yet.
I didn't tell you. I didn't finish the first question you asked me. I only gave you half of it.
I don't even know what the first question was. This was we had to juggle a couple plates on sticks, but we made it work. What was the first question I asked you?
Well, the first question was, I said I had two answers, and I only got to the Adam answer, and I said I was going to talk about Logan Sorensen. But what's your next question? And I can probably incorporate it.
Tell me more about Logan Sorensen's run out there at Sturgis.
Well, the question that you asked was, like, did I have any fun surprises? And there's always so many, you could call it a silver lining, just things that I just don't think about that are going to be exciting. And Logan is somebody, they've got TNT out of Michigan, and I work for him and his dad, Todd. And when he signed up, we don't cross paths much. So, I don't know if that fell in just want to support Mark or just want my name in the series, or I didn't know what that meant. And to each their own, I just figured, well, we'll see what the season.
What the hell is that?
Uh-oh. Did the meeting end after an hour? No. Maybe he'll pop back in there. Wonder if perhaps his phone died.
We got some weird words up there.
It's yep. That was actually Nate's. That was Nate's login. Just in case anybody wanted to be Nate Sherman for a day. Let's see if we can get Mark back here for a moment. We'll give it a second or two. I know we're running.
Probably gonna run some bill pairs, huh?
Yeah.
If we got any of those, yeah.
If you want to do that, we can roll that first break real quick and see if we can get Mark back.
SmashItDerby.com presents Capital City Carnage live from the Stormont Vale Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas. This two-day heart racing event takes place March 3rd and 4th, 2023, and features 8 different classes, so there's something for everyone. You'll see youth front-wheel drive hobo, hobo minivan, weld compacts, front-wheel drive hobo, full-size mod, and 2 main extreme features, as well as 5 separate $6,000 to win street stock weld features, and a $10,000 to win limited weld feature. In-person tickets and pit passes are available now on Ticketmaster.com. Can't make it to Topeka? Watch from the comfort of home at DerbyNation.tv. It's Capital City Carnage, March 3rd and 4th, live from Topeka, Kansas. For more info, visit SmashItDerby.com and DerbyNation.tv.
And we're all looking forward to this one. Palmetto Destruction coming up on the 17th and the 18th of February. 7 o'clock start time on February. This one event's presented by Jeffy's Fab Farm and Carolina Derby Promotions. Going to be airing live on Iron City Productions TV and only on DerbyNation.tv as well. It's a 2-day show from the Florence Center in Florence, South Carolina. Looking forward to getting out there for this one, February 17th and 18th. Saturday is going to be 6 o'clock start time. We'll be going live about a half hour before showtime for a little bit of a pre-show, give you an update on where everything is at. Again, Palmetto Destruction, February 17th and 18th, with Carolina Derby Promotions airing on Derby Nation TV, presented by Iron City Productions TV. Well, we have not heard back from Mark, and it shows that he hasn't been online for an hour, which is a good indication that he was on his Zoom call and his Facebook alerts were disabled, and my guess is probably his phone died.
If I was a betting man, I'd think so, yeah.
So we got most of the results and everything and where we're at, but big shout out to Alliance. The virtual Blizzard Bash went off without a hitch. We got a couple more shows that have been coming together around along those lines. Jeremy Gully was contacted by a internet host, and the San Filippo Smash is going to be a virtual derby on the virtual Unified Point Series this year.
Cool.
The Snowball fight sold out in less than 2 minutes, so that was kind of exciting there. Jeffy's Fab Farm, we're looking forward to catching up with him down in Palmetto. Jeffy's fiercely working well, I don't know what machine he's working on tonight, but he's seriously working something.
Yeah, he's working on something.
Had a good conversation, another good conversation with Frankie Guy this week about all the stuff that's going on with hardcore and some new things that are coming along the lines with him. So we'll be catching up with Frankie here in the coming weeks to follow up with that. We haven't even begun to talk with Impact and everything that's happening north of the border. They've got a ton of cool things coming up, and then April the 1st is not that far away.
No.
That's the expo at Preble County in Ohio. So lots of good stuff coming. Demolition Derby Life magazine, all for him racing. We got some new clips and stuff from the 2022 season coming from Alex Vasco. We're looking forward to getting that to share with everybody. So still, we're really officially maybe 2 derbies into the year so far here as we sit on the 30th of January, but still lots more to come, and it's strange to have 2 derbies in the book and already feel like we're behind.
It's strange to have 2 derbies in the book, and it's February.
It's not February yet.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
I've got all my paperwork that I need for some certain things.
Awesome. No, it's awesome, man. We we touch on it, and it's just so great that that there's stuff going on already. Palmetto, I think that's going to be a great show. Hopefully, some people head on down from the northeast, come up from the west, wherever. Man, I think it's going to be beautiful weather. Great derby. Hopefully, we can fill that place to the rafters. I know they were very happy with how things turned out last year, so hopefully we can.
And remember, the venue wanted to have a derby.
Yeah, how awesome is that? I mean, that alone. I mean, for a venue to reach out, we should really do what we can to support them. So. Great show. I've heard a lot of great things about Sturgis. Obviously, there was the keyboard jockeys that this guy was doing that wrong and blah, 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 blah. But nobody said, I'm getting a car and going to show them how. They would just rather type that, they were doing it wrong. So, a lot of great stuff going on out there.
There's a lot. And we're going to be back here again next week talk a little bit more about it. I think between then and now, it'll probably be somewhere around the Pennsylvania border. If anybody wants to stay high, perhaps closer to Pittsburgh. We'll have to see what Todd wants to do.
No doubt.
But we got some more graphics that I got to wrap up tonight, and then I think the second to last home basketball game is Thursday, and then things are actually February's usually a little bit more chaotic than this. It's actually a quieter month for once. So we'll look forward to getting back here again. We'll be talking more Derby with more Derby personalities here on the Crash Course. We appreciate you joining us and hanging out for a little while. That's going to do it for episode number 427. Big thanks to all the partners that helped make this one happen. Sorry we couldn't get Mark back on the line, but 427 is in the books. We will see you all again right back here next week.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLinks1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.